absolutely unbelievable. It's a tie game! Woo! Finally! Go Leafs, go! It's not baseball, but let's see a rally. Let's go Leafs!
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Maple Leafs Media postgame show. As always, I'm your guy Jake, and today I've got my good friend alongside me. How you doing tonight, Clarky?
Doing great after that great win. How about you?
I'm doing well. It was a good day, and it was capped off with a Maple Leafs victory that is probably a little bit closer than it should have been. A 4-3 win, and the Maple Leafs saw another 2-goal lead disintegrate.
Dennis Rodrigue already has the comment in covering that topic. I knew that was going to be the elephant in the room. Yes, another lead lost. And then he's got another one. The difference, Gibson was better than Campbell. So we got a couple of talking points already. But, yep, another lead lost tonight.
Yeah, another lead lost tonight, and I want to ask you how concerning this is after I read the statistic to you. So the Maple Leafs have lost leads of 2 or more goals in 5 of their last 7 games. Yes, they've been coming away with a lot of points in these victories. A lot of these games result in points for the Toronto Maple Leafs, but is that a concern to you?
That's got to be a concern. That's got to be a cause to pause because a team with a lead has got to wrap that up and make it a present and go on to the next game. But right now the Leafs are struggling with a lead, and especially down the stretch, you can only think bad things coming in the playoffs if they're not going to be able to wrap up games like that. That is a situation we don't want to run into. I don't know about you and everyone else. Share your opinion about what you think about the Leafs losing these leads, but I think it is a real concern. And obviously, we know Keefe is trying to address that right now for sure. That's got to be a main talking point in the Leafs coaching staff right now. What do you think?
It absolutely has to be a talking point, and I feel like it's been a talking point for quite some time now surrounding the Toronto Maple Leafs, but this team needs to figure out a way to really put their foot down on their opponents when they have a lead and finish out strong. Sports, it's all about finishing strong. You have to finish strong. And I'm going to look back to this past Sunday. You knew where I was going with this. When the Buffalo Bills, in a fantastic game, took the lead against the Kansas City Chiefs with 13 seconds to go, and Patrick Mahomes drives down the field. It's just an example of, in the big-time moments, you need to close out in these games.
Yeah, I'm sure by now everyone watching this channel knows you're a huge Bills fan. I'm a Bills fan too, converted later than you are, but that was a tough game to watch, and that's a good example of, and that was a playoffs, and obviously NFL is a little bit different, do or die. There's not a 7-game series, but yeah, that's a great example of just a team that was so close yet so far in the end. That was a tough game to watch.
Absolutely, it was a
At
tough
the end,
game to watch.
great game to watch overall.
No, not really a tough game to watch. That was
Yeah.
like, honestly,
tough ending to watch.
I could say that was potentially the best football game I've ever watched. But in tonight's game between the Anaheim Ducks and the Toronto Maple Leafs, let's talk about the 3 stars of this game. First, the third star of the game, you have John Tavares, the captain. He had 6 shots on goal tonight. He also had 2 hits, a goal, an assist. Another great outing for the captain.
Yeah, I thought he had a big impact on the power play, obviously. And, again, right in front of the net, causing a lot of problems. Good down low, back checked a lot. I think he had a great game overall. And, captain leading by example. So he's got to be a 3rd star for me tonight, too.
And the 2nd star, John Gibson is the sole reason in this game that the Anaheim Ducks came away with a point. He propelled them to overtime to earn a point. 41 saves. He carried the Anaheim Ducks on his back, stood on his
Yeah.
head all night long.
Yeah, Jason Brooks says it's best here. He says another blown lead, 3-1. Give credit where credit is due to John Gibson. I mean, John Gibson, the numbers don't say it all. Like, he had 41 saves, like you said, but some of those saves he made down the stretch in overtime, whether it was flashing a leather, going post to post, guy was unreal, and reminds you that other teams have great goaltenders too.
Yeah, John Gibson is outstanding, and he's capable of taking over a game just like we saw tonight. But yes, we have to give credit where credit is due to John Gibson, but still, the Toronto Maple Leafs need to find a way to close out these games and not let leads slip away from them, because so often the momentum shifts towards the other team. And I felt like we were seeing that in overtime. Maple Leafs are lucky to come away with a win in this game, even though they dominated for the most part in this game. They're still lucky to come away with a win in this game. I
Mm.
feel getting to that shootout really killed the momentum of the Anaheim Ducks.
Yeah, I agree. And I was thinking about it too. If the Leafs didn't have power plays tonight, would they have scored? Because at least in that first period, John Gibson was making big saves up until that power play, and the Leafs just did not have anything. But obviously, we can get into it too. The power play was great tonight. I think that's a positive thing for the Leafs to look forward to. You could say their penalty kill too. But yeah, I agree. I mean, the Leafs, they had the lead. They had some power plays and they made some boneheaded decisions. And then next thing you know, they lose the momentum. And if it wasn't for that shootout, and I even think, tiring out the Ducks in that overtime, it could have been a different ending.
Yeah, and it's funny that you mention if the Maple Leafs didn't have a power play, they probably wouldn't have won this game. Well, all three of their goals tonight came on the power play.
Yeah.
And you know what? That's great that they got the power play and they scored those goals, but still, it is definitely a bit of a concern that they allowed this lead to get away from them. And I mean, it's not like the Maple Leafs were outplayed. It was just the unlucky bounces, but they have to figure out a way to score some more goals, keep piling on the goals.
Yeah, I agree. Hot Tuna has a little bit of a counter argument to what we're saying, which it is a fair point. The Leafs did hit 2 to 3 posts tonight, so it was a bit unlucky. There was some iron. I think Sandin hit one, Marner, or maybe Marner's, that one went in actually. But there was a few posts tonight for sure.
Yeah, and it was also unlucky bounces, such as that first goal that went in. The Pierre Engvall
Yeah, yeah.
attempt to clear the puck out of the defensive zone ends up deflecting off of a player and going into the back of the net. That was just an unlucky goal. And then the second goal, even you could say, was a bit of a bad bounce. The puck goes directly to Jacob Silfverberg as he gets out of the penalty box. He
Yeah,
put it home with a great shot, though.
yeah. But that's hockey, those bounces could go the other way for the team
Exactly.
they play next game. So you can't really say that, I guess.
Yeah, it's they just need to figure out a way to close out these games, because every game is going to have some bounces that go against you or for you. Uh, Dave says, "Is Campbell the answer for the Leafs to get past the first round?" And instead of that question, Clarky, because that's a big question that remains to
That's a
be
big
unseen.
question.
We don't know. We don't know. We will
Dave,
see.
you're bringing up the $1 million questions.
We will see. But instead of that, I'm gonna ask you, Clarky. Are we seeing
Hmm.
a decline from Jack Campbell right now?
Well, the sport group said it too. Opinion on Campbell, and I mean, I'll give a disclaimer before I say anything. It's so hard to criticize someone that's, at points for the past year and a half now really carried the Toronto Maple Leafs and came out of nowhere, and really was such a pleasant surprise for Leaf fans that prior to Anderson, and even when Anderson was injured, getting consistency from a goaltender was so difficult for so many years. So Campbell's been a great, great replacement and far exceeded expectations. But that being said, he's been a little shaky lately. Thankfully, the Leafs have gone out and scored a lot of goals too. So we've seen a lot of shootouts lately. But yeah, I mean, Campbell, is it a matter of, is he going to continue his streak where he's just that naturally skilled and he's improved that much where he's going to continue to be one of the best goalies in the league night in, night out? Or was it also, goalies get hot and cold, and maybe he was on a really hot spell and now he's coming back down to earth? I think that's the question we got to, at least I think about a lot now watching him, just because lately he has been a little bit of hit and miss. But again, very hard to criticize him because he's done so much for this team.
And I think that was really well said, Clarky. But what I want to add on to this is in Jack Campbell's past 5 outings, the Maple Leafs have allowed 21 goals against in his last 5 outings. 21 goals against. That's just not good enough. You're not going to win a lot of games that way. The Maple Leafs
Yeah,
have been winning games, but ultimately that's not going to help. Jack Campbell has been fantastic for the Toronto Maple Leafs ever since he took over as their starting goaltender last year. He played out of his mind on a whole other level than anybody expected him to
yeah,
start the season. He exceeded expectations, and people were seriously talking about him being a candidate for the Vezina Trophy early on. But Jack Campbell has never been that type of goaltender. He came into the season with under 100 games played, and I'm a big fan of Jack Campbell. It's a great story. He's a great goaltender, but I don't think he's naturally a Vezina candidate.
yeah,
I don't think he will remain at that status. I think he's outplayed himself in a way like he's able to play at that level, but I don't think he's able to sustain it for a long period of time.
yeah. I get what you're saying, and I mean, and this kind of goes back to, I remember when you interviewed Kelly Rudy. If you guys haven't seen that already, great interview. It's on the channel with Kelly Rudy. And Kelly Rudy, an experienced goaltender, that guy played in the league for years, was doubting Campbell because I think what you were saying just now, he's a guy just with not a lot of experience and he hasn't had the opportunity. And it was because of just being injured and in and out of lineups and whatnot. So he was saying, Campbell's going to at one point kind of come back to earth or correct to how he played in the past. And obviously, he was proven wrong last season, even the start of this season and throughout. And just lately, he has come to a little bit less of what he was playing at the expectation before. But at the same time, I think there's some comments in here too that are good, saying that he needs more rest and he can't play as much as he's played. And Mrazek needs more starts. So I think it's Jason Brooks, T. Dot, Dave. They're all saying Peter needs more starts, and I tend to agree. I think maybe we've overworked Campbell too much too.
Yeah, I mean, Peter Mrazek was injured for a long period of time through for the beginning of the season. The Maple Leafs signed Peter Mrazek for a reason. They definitely need to see him in the lineup more frequently, give Jack Campbell some more off nights. And as I said, Jack Campbell is capable of playing at a very high standard. He holds himself accountable, and he's a solid goaltender. But I just don't think he's that guy that's going to win the Vezina Trophy. I don't think he's going to be a Vezina candidate. I'd be pleasantly surprised if he was. Uh, there's some points about the defense that could be made. There's a lot of injuries to the defense right now,
Yeah, COVID.
and even before that, the blue line was lackluster.
Yeah.
But I, I'm I feel as if we can safely say we are seeing a decline from Jack Campbell.
Well, I think it's good to just be conscientious about it too, because when playoff comes around and if he lets in 4 or 5 goals in one night, and then we're all saying he's a Vesna Trophy winner, he's choking. Maybe that's not a fair criticism. Maybe it's as our duty as Leaf fans to lower expectations a bit and say, this guy's a great goaltender, but he can't carry the Toronto Maple Leafs on his back and get shutouts every night and expect that that's how we're going to win. So I agree with what you're saying, and I think maybe as Leaf fans, we need to reassess our expectations too a bit.
Yeah, that's a great point, Clarky. Hot Tuna says Campbell just needs to be steady, which he is. Not Vesna caliber. We need him to keep. We need him. We need to keep him affordable. And honestly, the affordable thing, I don't think that's I mean, it is a concern, but at the same time, it's not really a concern for the Toronto Maple Leafs right now. They're just looking to win some games. Uh,
Affordable because we have to re-sign him is what I assume he means,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Like,
that's
because
what
we
he
don't want him
means.
that. Maybe it's a conspiracy. Maybe the Leafs really want him to play bad, so we have to pay him less.
I don't think that's what they're looking for. But maybe now's the time to start a negotiation. If you haven't already, please make sure you smash the like button and hit the notification bell to be notified every time new content's being released on Maple Leafs Media. For tonight's first star of the game, we did not get to the first star, and this player has really been turning it up as of late. Mitch Marner had another goal and an assist tonight. He extended his goal streak to 4 games, and over that 4-game stretch, he has recorded 7 points.
Marner looked great tonight, drawing that penalty, scoring that first goal. Been unreal. He's been unreal. Everyone comment one word to describe Mitch Marner of late. Want to hear it. What's your word?
That's a tough one. What's your word?
Or phrase? I was gonna say stupendous.
He's I'm not sure. He's taking it to the next level.
Well, we have some coming in. Amazing, hot, reformed, overall 8 out of 10.
Amazing. He's been fantastic. I know that's kind of a lame word, but he really has been. He's been really hard to take off the puck. He's flying out there. He's speedy.
I mean, when he drew that penalty, he just dangled around Shankar. Oh my gosh. That was beautiful. That was beautiful.
When he's on, he's on. He's one of the best players in the league when he's playing at a high level like he is right now.
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
And yeah, it's just a joy to watch him play, especially when he's playing like this.
Let's hope he can keep it together in the playoffs. Please.
How do you feel about this, Clarky? Dennis says the Leafs are too soft in the D zone.
You know, Dennis had a great comment at the start of the show. I think he was talking about the blown leads. And I think this relates to his comment about the blown leads. I mean, how can a team not be soft? They're giving up 5 out of the last 7 games blown leads. There's got to be a soft element in that. And I think right now, the Leafs, maybe it's whether it's down low and around the boards or just sloppy with the puck. There's some issues, especially defensively, because they need to tighten up if they want to stop giving up these leads. Dennis putting the nail on the head right there.
You know what? It's not something that I like to say, but they have been playing rather soft. They're not really showing the killer instinct that everyone's been looking for. Everybody's been looking for the killer instinct for years, and it hasn't showed up as of late. They've been sneaking away with some victories here, but they've gotten rather lucky in a lot of these wins.
You know who's a guy though that I think carries that instinct is
Who?
Muzzin. I really do think Muzzin carries that instinct to a certain extent. And I obviously, got to perform without a guy in your lineup, but I think that having him out does take a little bit of impact off that blue line because he's a warrior. And we've seen that in playoffs time in and time out. So I think guys like him add a little bit of that grit, but doesn't supplement the whole team from being. And other people are saying Bunting too. What do you think of Bunting's play? Brooksy says Michael Bunting has been drawing a lot of penalties. Chris says Bunting is that guy.
Yeah, Bunting reminds me of Brendan Gallagher or Brad Marchand. Maybe Maple Leafs fans aren't too fond of those players, but trust me, if they played on the Maple Leafs, you would love them. He reminds me of those two players, and that's a player that you want on your team. But I want to go back to what you were saying about Jake Muzzin, because if you watched the Amazon All or Nothing Toronto Maple Leaf series, docu-series from last season, you'd know that Jake Muzzin in the locker room, he plays a big leadership role, and he's often one of those guys that's in the well, he is in the leadership circle for the Toronto Maple Leafs, and he plays a pivotal role in the penalty kill. He's won 2 Stanley Cups with the Los Angeles Kings. He's a veteran, and the Maple Leafs blue line really needs him. And we've seen that in the past 2 times the Toronto Maple Leafs were eliminated in the playoffs. He went down with injury in both of those series, and not to say that the Leafs lost those series because of his absence, but it definitely didn't help.
Yeah, that unfortunate timing, but I agree. I mean, he's won a Stanley Cup, and he's one of those shutdown defensemen, makes the right plays, and yeah, you're right. I mean, again, I think a lot of sports is the intangibles you don't see on the ice and then come up in the stat line. And for Muzzin, he plays a big part in that. You know, he's a very vocal leader, and you can tell just the way he conducts himself. So I think missing him is really tough for the Leafs. And I also think Dave has a good comment too that we miss Bogo's toughness. I think Bogosian at points, a lot of Leaf fans weren't fond of him last year, and even myself at points he looked slow and maybe kind of out of place on the team. But at other points, you know, he was a veteran defenseman and really provided a lot of experience on that blue line. So I think even missing him to a certain extent, having him in the lineup, that was helpful too. But you know, Sandin's, I don't know, we can get into it, but the blue line, there's some issues, and Hall, and there's a lot of things we could talk about with the blue line. I don't know where you want to take this, but
Well, to go back to your comment about Zach Bogosian, he was a very steady defender for the Toronto Maple Leafs, filled that bottom pairing role beside Travis Dermott for the most part. He played that role very well. The Toronto Maple Leafs are definitely missing him. He's back in Tampa Bay, where he won his Stanley Cup the year before he came here. He won the cup with them in the bubble.
yeah,
Rozer
proven
says,
winner.
are we going to talk about the Liljegren injury? Yes, we will. So Timothy Liljegren, another injury potentially to the Maple Leafs lineup. He left tonight's game in what looked to be a scary incident, and he actually look at this picture.
Oh my gosh.
He, but the thing is, he actually received a penalty for tripping on this play, which is unbelievable in my opinion.
Yeah, I know you sent me the video. I saw it briefly, but you sent me a video covering it, and yeah, I guess you know it was real time, and maybe the referee saw it happen differently. But yeah, that doesn't look too good. Zegras, that guy can skate, so I can only imagine how hard that collision was. But yeah, hopefully he's all right because that's the last thing the Leafs need is more depth issues on the defense position.
Yeah, Maple Leafs can ill afford to face more injuries. They've had a lot of injuries. They've really been facing a depleted lineup on that back end. They missed Justin Hall for some time. Uh, they've missed Rasmus Sandin for some time. Right now, they're missing Jake Muzzin as well. It's been a tough go of it defensively for the Toronto Maple Leafs as of late. But I want to talk about one player who's been fantastic. I think we should talk a bit more about Timothy Liljegren before. Did look like a scary incident, and hopefully he's okay. Hoping for the best for him. But
Yep.
to talk on a more positive note here, Morgan Riley has been fantastic for the Toronto Maple Leafs. He's been uh, outstanding, really, throughout this season, and ever since he signed that contract extension, that will see him play here for the next 8 years. Uh, so 20 points in his last 16 games played. He's getting it done offensively and defensively.
Yeah, I mean, I was looking it up before, and he's top 10 in points for defensemen, not far behind Fox. And yeah, I mean, I think even compared to last year, Riley really took a step back. And then this year, we're just reminded of, you know, why he can be a number one defenseman for the Leafs. And he just looks like such a more weapon on offense again, whether it's on the power play or whether it's just on the rush, and even playing defense in his own zone. Like he's come along and in his own this year. And I think playing alongside Brody, especially, that pairing is elite for the Leafs. At times they can be hit and miss, but I think overall they're a great pairing together. And Morgan Riley is on fire right now, and let's hope he can keep it up, because if the Leafs want to go far in the playoffs, they need a leader on the blue line. And ultimately, we could talk about Muzzin, we could talk about Hall, we can talk about Liljegren. Morgan Riley is supposed to be the leader on the blue line. So let's hope he can keep it together during the playoffs, because he is that guy, or can be that guy.
Yeah, absolutely. He's been the Maple Leafs top defenseman. Almost he almost came in 2012 and really was a top defender then. He wasn't, but ever since he really came into the league, the Maple Leafs knew that he had the potential to be their top defenseman, and he has been pretty much the whole time he's been in the NHL. It's very impressive to see his body of work. This is a guy that he bleeds blue and white. He
Yeah,
loves the city of Toronto. He's going to be here for quite some time, and the Maple Leafs really they need to take advantage of that because he's a fantastic defenseman.
I agree. I agree. And he's shown his dedication to the fan base. And I think the fans really love him. And at times, I think we've been tough on him. Sometimes he's deserved it, sometimes not. And right now, we got to praise him because he's been playing really great.
Yeah, he's been fantastic for them. Uh, he looks to keep it up. He's on fire right now. 20 points in your last 16 games. That's great. But as a defenseman, it's just wow. It's amazing. And with tonight's victory over the Anaheim Ducks, I found this to be a surprising stat, actually. The Maple Leafs have defeated the Anaheim Ducks in 15 of their last 19 meetings, dating back to the 2009 season. And thinking about the Maple Leafs teams we've seen for almost half of the time there, the Maple Leafs really had some down years, and the Ducks had they had some pretty good years.
Yeah,
And
yeah, they had a good core for a while, the Ducks.
so it surprised me seeing this stat.
Yeah, I'm surprised too. I was going to say maybe it's the teams of recent, but that spanned over multiple teams, multiple coaches, GMs across both teams. So there's got to be some sort of fluke in there or something. I don't know. Some luck.
Dating back to 2009, and the Maple Leafs took both of their games against the Anaheim Ducks this year. What did you think about the Anaheim Ducks tonight? How did you feel about watching them?
If I was a Ducks fan, and I'm not, but I respect them as a team, the Ducks are a good young team in terms of some of their core. I mean, Zegras and Drysdale and obviously John Gibson, but they got a lot of young talent. And I think even there was one guy, I don't know, forget his name, on the fourth line, Robertson or something. Guy had a lot of speed. Like, they're a very fast team. Usually don't see players on other teams that are as fast as the Leafs overall, but I mean, Drysdale, for instance, Zegras, those guys were flying over the ice. And then obviously you got Terry and a few other players. And I think overall as a team, they're going through it with their health and everything right now too. But they're having a good season, and they're an exciting team to watch. And it was fun to watch them play the Leafs tonight, because at times I thought the game was over, but they clawed back and made the game entertaining. So if I was a Ducks fan, I'd be excited.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot to be excited for fans of the Anaheim Ducks because, as you mentioned, they have such a young core that's gonna really progress, and I think that they have one of the brightest futures in the NHL, along with teams such as the Detroit Red Wings, potentially the Ottawa Senators. These are teams that have really bright futures in the in the NHL with a lot of
Yeah.
young rising talent. Trevor Zegras, Jamie Drysdale, Sam Steele, all former first round picks, and they're all young and emerging talents. John Gibson, we saw what he's capable of doing tonight in goal. Josh Manson is a solid defenseman as well. They've got a lot of talent over there in Anaheim, and they're really taking the next steps. I mean, look at the way that they started the season. A lot of people were surprised by how they started the season, and right now I think they're fighting for a playoff spot.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, they're fighting for the playoff spot right now, for sure.
Right now they're second in their division behind the Vegas Golden Knights. Uh,
Yeah, I think they have 49 points. The Leafs have 55 now. I guess it's 55 to 50 now. But I was gonna say this guy's name's Buddy Robertson. Do you know a lot about him?
I don't know too much about Buddy Robertson, but I do know that he's an
He
emerging
was
talent.
fast.
Yeah, he looked good out there.
He looked very fast on the ice, and it looks like he's bounced around between a few games in the NHL, mostly AHL. Very fast player. I was impressed. He's 30, but I was just impressed about how he's playing. And yeah, they're a good team. And how can we forget Ryan Getzloff?
Yeah, Ryan Getzlaf,
Legend.
yeah, legend of the game for sure.
Yeah.
He's had a great career, and there's a lot of questions about if he would re-sign in Dallas this year. I remember last year, well, I guess at the beginning of the offseason, streams here, people were saying, "Oh, the Maple Leafs should sign Getzlaf," and it just didn't really make sense.
Yeah, Getzloff and Spezza doesn't really make sense.
Yeah, you have two veteran centers kind of taking up the same role. It doesn't really make sense. Frank Rusty Nails brings up a good point. I also saw a tweet saying this: Liljegren's injury looked eerily close to the Tavares hit in the playoffs. It did,
Oh,
and just gotta again hope for the best for Timothy Liljegren.
yeah. Yeah, it's dangerous. That's the one danger of hockey is those types of collisions can be very damaging to players. So let's hope Liljegren's okay and bounces back like Tavares did because Tavares looked great tonight.
Yeah, never want to see that type of thing in sports. It happens, and you just want to see the player make a full recovery and bounce back, as you mentioned, just like John Tavares did. So Saturday night, the Toronto Maple Leafs are back at it. They're going to face off against the Detroit Red Wings at Scotiabank Arena. How do you feel
Another
about
good
this
young
game?
team.
Yeah, another emerging talents, right? Lucas Raymond, Tyler
Lucas
Bertuzzi,
Raymond,
Robbie
yeah,
Fabry. They've got a lot of young talent.
Larkin.
Yep. Moritz Seider, Nedeljkovic in goal.
Yeah, they go. Yeah, I was gonna
They've
say
got,
that goalie's good.
they've got an exciting young team as well.
Yeah, they got a good, exciting young team, and it's always fun to see because the Leafs have, I think, gone a bit older now. They're still a young team, but to see some of these young players, I think AC said it. Ducks remind me of a 2016 and 2017 Leafs team, young and up and coming, and I can kind of see that. You see a lot of raw talent on these teams, guys that are going to be future stars, just trying to harness that and produce and come together as a team. And I think it's difficult when those guys are rookies and whatnot, but in a few years, you could see Lucas Raymond, Zegras, Drysdale. Those could be the next. Well, they're not. Could be. They're probably going to be the future of the NHL. So it's great to see a young team like Detroit coming in and playing the Leafs, but hopefully the Leafs beat them.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. It's going to be a fun matchup. The Detroit Red Wings. I haven't followed their past few games, but I know that they've got a lot of young talent, and it'll be fun to watch them on Saturday night. I Dylan says, "Yeah, we got to win, but honestly, not impressed." And I mean, I can't blame you, Dylan.
Yeah, I have to agree with Dylan there too. I mean, impressive 3 goals all in the power play, blown lead, to made the other goalie on the other team look like a complete superstar, Patrick Waugh. I mean, he did play really great.
You know what? John
So
Gibson is a star.
can't
in the
take that away
NHL.
from him,
John
but
Gibson.
it didn't look good.
John Gibson's a star in the NHL.
Oh, for sure. No, I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying like the Leafs without that power play looked like they were going up against a brick wall. They weren't
Yeah,
going to score.
yeah. It was really. It must have been intimidating going up against them in the shootout, but the Maple Leafs got lucky. It kind of killed some of the Ducks' momentum that I felt they built up. Uh, Dylan, I completely understand where you're coming from, not being impressed. Uh, there was some positives to take away from the game. Like, yes, the Maple Leafs dominated for the first 40 minutes of the game. They heavily outshot their opponents by a score of 44-20, plus 24
Yep.
shot differential in their favor. Yet they still lost a 3-1 lead and a 2-goal lead for the 5th time in their last 7 games. So it's definitely a concern, something that is kind of overshadowing the Maple Leafs. I don't want to say success, but success in
Yeah,
pulling away with some wins and some points in games. So it's definitely overshadowing that.
yeah. No, I agree. I mean, you don't want to say success. I get why you're saying that because they're still getting the win, but it's like almost uh, convincing wins, convincing success that you can take now and say this can easily happen in the future. This can easily happen in the playoffs. It doesn't really bode a lot of confidence for the Leafs fans and obviously Leafs coaching staff. I'm sure they're fretting in the background. I mean, why else would you switch the lines like they did tonight? They're trying to experiment new things and see what can work and what cannot. But we didn't really talk about that either. I mean, there was a lot of hype before the game about the line changes and whatnot, and I'm curious to see your opinion and everyone else of what you thought about the lines because at points we thought Nylander was going to be on the third, and then kind of switched up where he was playing with Nylander and Matthews at points, and then Matthews alone. Like it was bouncing around the lines all night. So, what do you think of that?
It feels it. Well, I know that Sheldon Keefe said he wanted to see what it looks like to have Nylander, Marner, and Matthews, the Toronto Maple Leafs, 3 big forwards, separated on different lines. He wanted to see how teams would respond to that. And personally, I mean, I am not a massive fan of the move. I understand the move, but and William Nylander is a fantastic player, but I'm not sure how if he can necessarily carry a third line to the point where it's going to significantly increase their offensive production.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good point. I think I would kind of say I'm in a similar camp, but for a different reason. I felt that it was interesting to see the different lines, but I think that it almost was like as if Keefe was managing it a lot. Like I think it was through the first period, their minutes were like identical, yet these players were playing different on different lines and different times. So it was like almost kind of micromanaging it to make sure he was trying different things. And I'm not too sure how those players are playing with each other in terms of mentally, but I feel like that'd kind of throw me off if I was playing with different line mates every shift, right? So,
Hmm.
I mean, obviously they mix it up. They're professional hockey players. They know how to handle situations like that, but kind of felt like there was no consistency at points throughout the game.
Yeah, and I would say that having that flexibility is a good thing. But these guys practice together every day. They should have some chemistry built up to the point where that they could just slot in together. I know that's not necessarily going to be an easy transition, but I'm saying that
Yeah.
it should be a move they're able to make, but I don't want to see them changing the lines all the time. It's just it's kind of as you said, it can kill that chemistry a little bit. And as a player, yeah, I know I never played at a high level or anything, but when I was playing a game before the game, I wanted to know who I'm playing with, and I was hoping that that would stick. If I was moved from a top line to a third line, I know these are professional athletes, but that might shoot their confidence just a bit.
Yeah, and obviously, that was definitely considered by Keefe because he was quick to explain that. And obviously, he had to because the media asked him questions and whatnot. But he came out and said, "This is not a demotion. This is me tinkering with the lines." So by him even explaining that, it's kind of almost him implying like, "I don't want Nylander to take it the wrong way that he's going down to the third line." So I
Mhm.
agree with you on that.
Yeah, and this could also just be to like it's just to get some more looks, get a feel for what the lineup can do. Uh, I mean, it's not a bad idea to tinker around with the lineups, but I don't think it's something you want to do too frequently.
For sure.
If you haven't already, please make sure you smash the like button and hit the notification bell to be notified every time new content is being released here on Maple Leafs Media.
Smash it. You'll regret it if you don't hit that notification bell.
Yeah, and if you're watching this on Facebook, tell a friend to tell a friend. We're also streaming on Twitter for the first time tonight.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
Yep, we're trying to expand Maple Leafs media here. I'm thinking about getting a podcast going soon,
Oh, like
like a
on
weekly
Spotify
podcast.
or something, or on YouTube, or
Yeah, weekly podcast is what I was thinking. It'll be available here, Spotify. I just
Mhm.
have to get that started. That's something I'm definitely looking forward to doing. Uh, Anybody have any thoughts from tonight's game? And
Oh, AC. Oh,
convincing
that's
is
a good
Calgary
example.
winning 6-0 with
Was it
62
six
shots.
nothing? I was
Yeah,
watching a bit of the game, but I didn't know
yeah,
it was ended up being 6-0.
they destroyed the Columbus Blue Jackets tonight.
Oh my
62
gosh,
shots on goal.
that's crazy.
That's
I'm
dominant.
I'm checking that to make sure that he's not lying.
No, he's not.
I
It's
know he
it's
wouldn't.
there.
I know he wouldn't.
No, it's there. It's a fact. 62 shots on goal. Wow. That's dominant for sure. The Calgary Flames really stomped on the Columbus Blue Jackets tonight. Good for them. I'm really curious how many shots on goal Matthew Tkachuk got for my fantasy team. He got 6 of those shots on goal.
I can never say his name. What's his Majapani? How do you say his name?
Andrew Mangiapane.
Manjapani.
Mangiapane, my bad.
Manjapati. I think he's
Mangiapane.
Manjapati. I think he's Italian. He plays good when he's on the road. He had a nice tip goal tonight, and they're reviewing briefly that tip goal by the Ducks. Wasn't really going to be reviewed, but I was watching the other game, Columbus Calgary game, when we were in commercial break, and they had a tip that was higher, and I saw right away that they're not going to call back that tip goal in the Leafs game. They didn't call back the other one in the Calgary game, so it was just kind of interesting to see. And Manjapati got that goal.
Yeah, that just goes to show, like, people are always examining everything that referees do in every sport.
For sure.
They're
For
under
sure.
a microscope out there.
They're humans too. They're going to make mistakes. So, and fans do not like when they make mistakes. Quick to point that one out.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, I feel there was a mistake out there tonight with the trip against Timothy Liljegren. I will say that.
I agree.
But yeah, so Clarky, do you have any closing words here for our viewers of Maple Leafs Media?
You didn't let me prepare tonight. I was going to reflect for at least 5 minutes. No, it's great having me on. Thank you for having me on again. It was a good time just coming on and talking with you, as well as all the fans. Love all the comments by everyone, as always. Seeing familiar names and new names. So, like you said, tell a friend to tell a friend. It's always great to see new opinions coming in here, and I love reading. I read every comment, so I love hearing all the comments and all the opinions and perspectives. And at the end of the day, we're all here because we love the Leafs. We love the hockey, the game of hockey, and it's good to just talk about it after a game. Good Leafs win. So overall, go Leafs, go! And until next time, I will see you and everyone else in the stream. Hopefully, it's always a pleasure.
Clarky, thank you so much for coming on here tonight. This was a fun post-game show. We had a lot of great conversations in this one. Everybody in the comment section, if you could, I'm going to drop the link to my Twitter account. I'm currently trying to become a sports journalist. I'm just entering the sports journalism world. I'd really appreciate if you could go give that a follow. And if you haven't already, please make sure you subscribe, like this video. It helps with the YouTube algorithm. Anything you can do to help is appreciated. Clarky, thank you for your help with the show tonight. You were, as always, a great co-host to have on. And stay safe, everybody. Have a good night.